But basically, we just wanted to write stuff that we thought were cool. We weren't really like trying to chase a sound or like hits. We just did whatever we wanted, and we did it over the course of the pandemic.
Hey Kyle, how's it going?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm Adam, and this podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record.
Awesome.
Sweet, sweet. So I would start off with where were you born and raised? I did see, did the band start in Keller, Texas?
Yeah, Keller, Texas, and like Fort Worth. Like me and Cole went to Keller, but we were both kind of like Keller, Fort Worth. But like the band really like cemented in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay. What was it
Yeah.
like? You were mainly in the Keller area though, but before the band started.
Yeah, that's where I like grew up. Yeah.
What was it like growing up there? You said in Fort Worth, that's kind of Dallas. What area?
Yeah, it's like the big city, small town vibe. Even though it's like massive, it's kind of like feels more like a town than a city. Yeah, like growing up in Keller it's just like the most suburban of all suburban areas. Like I literally don't know else. It's like basically mostly just made out of like track homes and like strip shopping centers, like as far as I can see. So we definitely had that like angsty, I'm getting out of the burbs kind of like thing, We were like the only band in our town. So, just that kind of youthful teenage rebellion type thing.
Sure.
It inspired that for sure.
Rad.
Kind of place.
Cool. And how did you get into music?
Literally, I had no background in music like at all. I'd never even like sang in front of anyone. Like Cole could barely play the guitar, but we were at like a little high school party and Cole was like playing like a Green Day song or something, and I guess I was just buzzed enough to like try and sing along. So I started to like sing, and I got a good reaction from like the few friends that were there. And for some reason in that moment, I was just like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the aha moment. I want to do this forever. Wow. Which made no sense because I had literally never sang in front of anyone, didn't know how to play, had never written a song. Cole could barely play guitar. And I was like, yeah, this is it.
Dude, that blows my mind because you're such a great vocalist. Like, I'm so surprised that you weren't like, I thought you were going to be like, yeah, I was in choir since I was 4. And then I went to, oh my gosh.
Literally had like no background in singing at all. Just kind of like, I didn't even know if my voice is any good. Like it took me a while to like actually believe that like I was good at singing because I hadn't gotten any feedback from like anyone my entire life. Like not even my family knew I could sing. Like I would just sing in the shower in the car. So when I started singing like all the time, they're like, where did this come from?
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't know. I've been doing this. You guys, I just haven't showed you guys type thing.
Sure. Were you like in sports or anything like that? Is that what you were up to prior?
Me and Cole were in like cross country. Like,
okay.
I mean, I had played soccer like growing up, but like, yeah, me and Cole were in cross country, and that's kind of like how we knew each other. But like, that's about it. Like, we didn't really do most of the sports thing, and even in cross country, we're just kind of like, it was just something to do. We're slacking off and stuff.
Wow. And then he obviously knew how to play a little bit of guitar to play a Green Day song.
Not like very little, like barely knew his way around 4 chords, like had probably been like actually playing for like maybe like a few months.
Okay.
So it made even less sense that we were both like, let's do this for like 6 hours every day.
This is our new full-time deal.
We did. Everyone was like very confused.
What Green Day song was it?
It was like Basket Case, like the easiest one to play. Like, yeah.
That's cool. Oh my gosh, how funny. So Basket Case was the first song I ever knew all the lyrics to.
It makes sense. It's like one of those beginner songs. It's a great song. But yeah, it's like it's a good place to start. It's usually the first, that and like Seven Nation Army are usually where everything begins.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit older than I was like in fourth grade when that record came out, or maybe I was in fifth grade. And I just remember singing Basket Case. My parents like, what are you like?
Yeah, I know.
What? What are you talking about?
They were probably like very confused and not
Yeah.
stoked, I'm
They're
sure.
like, yeah. Yeah, I remember, yeah, when I had the CD, I remember I listened to it on my room on headphones because I didn't want them to hear the lyrics. It's like it's just so funny to think back to it
Yeah,
now.
I did the same thing. Like I somehow tricked my parents into buying like the Outcast CD.
Oh, there you
And
go.
like, because for some reason, when I was like really young, I really gravitated towards Outkast. Like, I think I just loved that Miss Jackson song.
Sure.
I was like, that was like my favorite song. So I like tricked my grandma into buying the CD. I like snuck it on the thing because it was right when parental advisory came out. So I couldn't buy it myself.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
then I just jammed that CD. Like, yeah.
Stuffed it in there somewhere.
Yeah, and it had like a really explicit like image on the top of the CD. So I covered it with like little like stickers from like tech decks and like, soda bottles and stuff.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So what grade were you in when you sang that Green Day song, or like when you guys kind of got together and
We were
did
like
that?
we were like going into our senior year of high school. So
Wow.
it
So
was
it was
like
towards the end there.
it was like really late. Yeah, that's why people were like even more confused. Like everyone's kind of getting ready to like, graduate and stuff. And we were spending all of our time doing this.
Okay.
Didn't make a lot of sense. Even looking back, I'm like, I really don't know. Like, I think we were just like, I was like, this is it. I think Cole was just like, I'm bored. Like, sure,
Sure, let's play.
let's do something.
Did you both have plans to go to college and pursue something totally different prior to that moment?
Yeah, I was just gonna go to college and like just do whatever. Like, I didn't
Figure it
really
out.
have like a plan exactly.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I think same with him. Like, but obviously, music was way more interesting.
Sure. Did the band take off a little bit during your senior year of high school, or like how did I
No,
guess
like
you said the
honest,
band
like
started, I guess, in a different part of
no,
Texas.
we were terrible. Like it was just me and him. We couldn't find anybody else in town that played music. Like literally, like not a single other person would join the band. So we just stayed acoustic for several years because it was easy and while we were figuring everything out. But like, yeah, we were not. The band definitely did not take off. Like we had some fans, I think, like we were always on MySpace, like adding people, like we'd spend hours a day, like adding people on MySpace. Like,
Okay.
yeah, we were hustling for sure. But yeah, no, the band didn't really take off um out of there. No.
Sure. Were you writing songs together too, or was it mainly
Yeah, we
covers?
were. We were
Okay.
just like we just had no idea what we were doing. Like we were writing songs with like because neither of us had ever written a song and like
Mhm.
no one was in our band as well to like try and help us. So like we just kind of had a foggy notion of how it was done. So we're writing these songs with like 3 or 4 time signatures, like that had like no repeating parts, like just like almost terrible acoustic prog rock, just based off format alone, not like because we were actually good at prog rock. Uh yeah, we were pretty bad for a while. It took a while for us to figure out. We basically started from the ground up, like
Uh-huh.
entirely.
And do you end up like how do you end up meeting the other guys and officially forming the band?
Um we finally like through basically like my dad was doing like electrical work on like this like venue in Arizona, in Tempe, Arizona, and me and Cole had like already like gone to college and we were like still writing and stuff, but like didn't really know where to go with it. My dad was like, "Hey, like there's this fancy venue opening, like you should definitely like come out here and play." And we're like, "Yeah, I don't know, it's in Arizona." And he's like, "I'll pay for your gas." And we're like, "All right, cool, we'll go." And we went there. He was like, I bet somebody like important might be there and like scout you guys. And like sure enough, like when we were there, like we played and some guys like you guys stuff, like talk to me outside. And then he led us to somebody and that somebody led us to somebody else. And they kind of like signed us to like a very small management type deal. And
just the two of you at this time, or
yeah,
was the band
just
just the
the
two
two
of
of
you?
us. And then like that guy linked us up with our drummer, and like through a bunch of different lineup changes we finally got to where we are. Like, but yeah, a lot of it came from like this management person kind of linking us with different people.
That's interesting. Your dad didn't have any idea this guy was going to be there. He just kind of
Yeah.
threw that
He
out
just
there.
like
Maybe
he
there's a
just
guy.
like totally called his shot. Like he was just like, yeah, I bet that there'll be somebody here that like can do something to help you guys. And yeah, there was. I was just like, wow, that worked out exactly like you said. He's
That's
like, I
crazy.
knew it. I was like, no, you didn't. You did not know that this is really gonna happen.
Oh my gosh. Well, so you put out Follow My Feet was the first song you put out.
Yeah.
And with that, was that still just the two of you, or was the band like officially formed, or were you writing as a band at this time?
It was really just the two of us. Like me and Cole wrote the song, and then like we like had it, we worked with like a producer to fill out the rest of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, we just wrote it on acoustic guitar, and that was kind of the beginning. That's how we wrote like pretty much everything at the beginning, was just like acoustic guitar for like years.
Interesting. And so with that though, you ended up putting an EP out, and was the band what it is, or was the band fully formed though when you were releasing that? And like, so when that started to kind of take off, were you
Honestly,
already
like we had a full lineup, and then something happened, like some drama, and like
okay.
we had to like get rid of our guitarist like while we were getting signed, and
Oh
that was
wow.
like kind of a disaster. And then there was this Jared, who like we basically also knew through this manager guy. Like um he had worked with him before, and we would just go stay on Jared's couch whenever we were in like California and like
Mhm.
hang out with him. And I didn't even know that he could really like play. I knew that he was in a band, but like when we needed a new member, literally 1 week before tour, we were trying out bassists and couldn't find anybody. He's just like, hey, I play bass. And I was like, oh yeah, you do play bass. And then he like came out and like just nailed the audition. So we didn't have a set lineup until a week before we went out on like a year and a half tour.
Oh wow. Whoa.
That could have gone badly, probably.
Yeah. Where were you guys going? And was it supporting that Follow My Feet release?
Yeah, like it was
Okay.
right after we got signed to Atlantic, and then
Mhm.
we literally hit the road for like a year and a half, basically.
That's crazy. Like getting signed
Yeah.
to Atlantic must have been such a like wow, what a big moment. I mean, not
It was
even
insane.
yeah, like
It was totally that rock star moment that we'd all like dreamed of, especially like the way that it happened. Like we played South by, the song was already, our Follow My Feet was already like moving at radio.
which was
Um
probably crazy in itself.
Independent, yeah. And then we played this show at South by Southwest and just like played like a lights out show. It was like one, still one of the best shows I ever played. And like the second we did that, like we poured into like the alleyway, and like there were like 5 or 6 A&Rs just like all like swarming us. Like, and 2 days later we were in New York trying out for labels, and 3 days later we were signed to Atlantic. Like it was definitely that whirlwind rock star story.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's so rad though.
It was nice. It was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next record was Bed of Liars, and you know, you had another couple of hits on that right off the bat that went to radio too, right?
Yeah, we had Love Can Start a War. That it took a while though. Like after that year and a half tour, like we kind of like we hadn't really written anything, and the label was like, hey, like we're probably gonna drop you guys if you guys don't come up with some new stuff. And we're like,
Oh.
oh shit. So we went home, and like we didn't really want to do it the acoustic thing anymore. So like Brent, who joined the band when he was 19, like I'd known that he had done some production before, and was like, he was really good at guitar. But basically we all just moved into like his like parents' house,
Oh wow.
and me and him just started writing together, like, and his productions were actually like really good. And then basically me and him just started writing every day for like hours. Like he would write for like 8 hours during the day, and then I would come in and like write 8 hours through the night. And like we just did that for like 6 months, and we get like over 100 songs. And
Wow.
that kind of like saved the band, kind of like, because
Uh-huh.
we came up with that Ringer song, which became a single. And then
Hmm.
we had already had Love Can Start a War, but both of those ended up going to radio.
Yeah, I remember because I did radio for a long time up until pretty much the pandemic, and I took on this podcast full time. But yeah, I remember playing both those songs on the radio.
Oh, that's awesome. What station were you?
I was at for a long time. I was at 91X in San Diego, and then I was at Live 105 in San Francisco, which became like Alt 105, and I think it's like
Did we meet you
Dave.
in San Diego? I feel
I
you
feel like
look familiar. Like I was like,
I believe it was like yeah, we have. I think we met in like 2018, 2019, maybe. I don't know. I
okay,
can't remember exactly. When did you guys, because you might have did you play that show in March 2020? Like I think you were supposed to do a show for us, but I
yeah,
don't remember.
yeah, I think by then it was like already everything had already been like, no,
Canceled, right?
actually, yeah, I
No,
think
no,
we
you
did
yeah, you
at the
played the music box, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I was trying to figure it out.
yeah,
I was
that's
like,
right. That was
timeline wise, I was like, because we were playing Novocaine, I think.
yeah, that was a great show. Yeah, yeah, that was like the last run before the end of the world. Yeah,
Right. Because okay, that did happen. I was on the night show. I didn't go to that show, but I played your record a million times, and
yeah,
I met you guys through that way.
yeah.
Prior to that, but I do remember that because that was when everyone was kind of like coronavirus was totally a thing at this point. Where everyone was like, "What is going on? Like, is this
Yeah,
gonna get
no
out of
one like
control?"
it was like just getting to California, and
Hmm.
like people were like, is this a big deal yet? And then like a week later it was like everyone was like, oh my God, like yeah, everything's
Yeah.
shutting. We were on tour, and like it was insane. Like every place that we would play, the next day we would hear that they were like shut down, like that they were shut down. And like we were just like go to the next city, then they shut down after we left, and we're like, all right, this is
That's
we,
so
pro-
wild.
we
How many
probably need
did
to
you
stop
make it
going.
up through the end of your tour, or did you get shut down?
Not even close. No,
Oh,
we like honestly like the tour that we booked was like insane. Like I was already like terrified of doing it because it was like 70 shows in like 3 months. Like I think our booking agent was literally trying to kill me. Like I like it didn't it was an absurd amount of shows, but like we were about to like make the most money and have like the best run of our like entire career.
Mhm.
But like we had to cut it like 12 shows in, I think.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It
And
would
was
have
that
been
big?
great, but like it was so many shows. I was already like pretty terrified of
But
doing
you
that
guys
many
didn't
shows.
have, well, obviously the new record wasn't out yet, and what before that was
Just
Danger to Myself.
Novocaine.
Just
Yeah,
Novocaine, right? Because you had Danger to
it was just
Myself was before that record, before you put
yeah.
out Novocaine. But
We were just touring off the success of Novocaine. Like we hit number one like shortly after that San Diego show.
uh-huh.
And like hit number one, and then like 4 days later, like everything stopped.
Oh my gosh, what was that like? Like having,
It's devastating.
yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was devastating. Getting the number one was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
because it was still we got to enjoy the number one because Corona still hadn't like it wasn't like real. Like
Right.
it was happening, but like we didn't realize it was like such a big deal at the very beginning.
Right,
But
right.
like we got to enjoy the success, like the number one moment, like it was its own thing.
Hmm.
But then yeah, then real life, then that happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, I can't imagine that. What a position to be number one on the charts is like insanity.
It was
Like that's
awesome.
so
Yeah,
insane. I mean,
it was
that's
huge.
so cool. And the song is obviously amazing, and it did
Thanks,
people
man.
resonated with it and everything else. But yeah, I remember we were playing that, but I felt like we played a couple of we played your records before that one too. I remember
We've
playing those.
got a lot. Yeah, we had
earlier
a lot of
songs.
songs out. Just every song that we put out just like did well in different parts of the country, but just
Mhm.
didn't really unite all of them. Like Novocaine was the first time that like everyone played the song,
That's so
which was
cool.
it was pretty awesome.
And from that though, I mean, like riding that high, getting number one, and then it's like everything comes crashing down and you get sent home. How do you guys handle that? Like, is it like, because in the beginning it was like, this is going to be 2 weeks and everyone's going to be back out on the road.
I think that we had a little bit of hope at the beginning because we thought maybe it was going to be like that, but then we realized that it wasn't going to be like that. And like, I mean, what can you do really? Like,
Right.
especially when it's the whole world. Like, it's harder for me to complain about like stuff when like people were like dying and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
Like we just kind of focused on doing these flatten the hump day sessions, like where like every Wednesday we would do like a live stream with like and try and make it interesting by doing like an 80s week or like one week
Uh,
we went to like a safari park because people were doing that because it was open air.
right.
We played for a bunch of animals. So like we just tried to do that like every week. We did it every week for 20 weeks actually.
Did you really just going to different places?
Yeah, I mean, we did most of it in our rehearsal area,
Okay.
just playing for the fans. Like really it was just to keep us sane and to like keep engaged like with
Hmm.
them. But yeah, we did flatten the hump day sessions, our weekly stream for like 20 weeks.
That's cool. And did you have a record? Like, were you working on a record that before hitting the road, or is it just like, okay, we put out
It
Novocaine
was
and then it
like
does super well, so it's like we got to just let's go and do this. But did you have a batch of songs ready to come out?
no. I mean, we did have a bunch of songs, but like we yeah, like we didn't end up using any of them. Like I hit up my friend like who's been our producer on a bunch of other tracks and I was like, "Hey, let's like we're while we're just here, let's just write a full album." Because we had already had those two singles, but basically I just needed a bunch of like B-sides to fill out an album.
Hmm.
We're not really good at writing B-sides. Like every time we write a song, like it always just ends up trying to be like a big song. Like I
That's
think
not a
it's
bad
just like
problem.
we just love like big choruses and melodies and like so like
Right.
it always ends up that way, even though I'm trying to write like low key, just like but basically I just like we just wanted to write stuff that we thought were cool. We weren't really like trying to chase a sound or like hits. We just did whatever we wanted and we did it over the course of the pandemic and that became Panther Island.
Okay. Wow. Was
Yeah.
there always a hope to put a full record out, or do you feel like because the pandemic allowed more
There,
time?
yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have gotten to start from scratch if it weren't for the pandemic. So I'm definitely thankful for that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so like that Panther Island probably definitely would not exist if it weren't for the pandemic. It would be a totally different album. And honestly, this album is better than the album it would have been.
Oh,
So
interesting. So did you
yeah.
have songs that were recorded that you were kind of holding on to and they just didn't
We
fit with what you're
did, but
doing
we just
now?
kind of started over. Like we had a bunch of songs that I'd written, and we got worked on with like different producers and stuff, but like we just decided to like scrap it and start
Hmm.
from scratch, and we had the time to do it. So
Wow. So when you start working on Panther Island, what you said you were working with a producer friend of yours?
yeah, like it's our buddy Derek Furman, and we've worked with him like in the past on a bunch of stuff, and yeah, we were just like, hey, like let's just start sending shit back and forth so we
Okay,
can
so
write the
that's what how you
song.
that's how you did it. Okay, I was gonna ask,
Yeah, like
was it like a
so
virtual type,
yeah,
like
like
Zoom
I'd
writing?
get on like FaceTime with him and talk about the songs and we build them out. And like whenever I was recording vocals, like he would like coach me through them. Like so he's just like here on my like shelf in my closet on FaceTime, kind of like we use this one thing where like it's like an app through Logic where he can hear in real time what I'm singing.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
he can kind of like direct me through that. And yeah, we just did that for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Did you sing the whole record in your closet?
Yeah. Yeah, I
So what
did.
you hear on the album is
Yep.
those takes?
Recorded in my closet around a bunch of clothes that I stacked. Like I didn't have like audio treatment, so I just put a ton of clothes in my closet. And it was hot. It was hot in there. I suffered. I suffered for those takes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And what about the music and the instrumental for the rest of the record? Was that just done the same way? Like you guys, how were
Just
you able to?
sending files back and forth. Like our guitarist would like go like listen to like the, you know, he would just add his own parts on there and stuff like that. Like everyone, but we were writing a lot of it like at the rehearsal space. But yeah, like it was basically just sending files back and forth the old postal service way.
Sure. Wow. And what about playing it together? Like when was the first time you actually got to be together and be like, oh, we should play these songs like as a unit, like live?
I don't know. Like that came like way later. Like we would
Yeah.
play them for like fun and stuff like that. But as far as like really learn them and like sharpen them up, like that, we haven't even learned like to play like all the songs on the record yet.
Oh,
Like
really?
no, like we just kind of you just kind of write them and then like record them and then like move on until like you need to do it again.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's still a couple songs on the record that we don't know how to play, but we're learning now because we're going on tour and I'm assuming that people want to hear the new stuff. So we're learning
Yeah.
all that stuff like right now. So right now, exactly.
Okay. Right now. I love
Pretty
the
much.
video you guys did to announce the tour dates. Or that was even a
Oh
bop.
yeah.
Yeah, you did like a little song and you sang all the day the tour dates.
That's feeding the TikTok machine, man.
It worked, at least
Gotta
for me. I
feed
was like, oh
gotta
damn, this
feed
is cool.
Yeah, I mean, like me and Cole love the old Bob Dylan thing. Honestly, I think that we got the idea from like, actually, it was like the I've been everywhere, man. Like song.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we're going for. But yeah, we did that. It was fun.
Yeah, no, it's a great video.
Just
I
a
really
stupid
liked it.
video. We're out doing like a folk song, listing off all like the places where we're going. Yeah.
Yeah, and the kick drum, your drummer doing the
That was
kick.
what made it.
That
Honestly,
was
that was
so
what made the video. If it wasn't for that, it would not have been like half as effective. Yeah, we found this in our rehearsal studio. There's like an old timey suitcase. I'm
uh-huh.
just explaining this for like anyone that might be listening.
Yeah,
Like
no, explain it because I was actually gonna ask you about
I've
this
never
thing.
even seen one. It was like an old timey suitcase with a a tom head on it, like glued to it. I don't know if the tom head goes through the suitcase. I guess it does. But like basically there could be nothing more like folky, like oh brother where art there shanty band than like an old timey suitcase like with that you can use as like a kick drum.
Does
So
it
that
fit clothes in it? Like, could you put stuff in the
I have no
suitcase?
idea. I didn't
Oh, you
open
didn't
it.
open
Like
it.
I don't even know. I want to check out what's in there because like it sounded way better than it had any right to sound. That's for sure. And it
It
didn't
sounded
sound good. And
good.
oh, thank you. It sounded it sounded yeah, it was all right. It was good. It was good
No,
for the moment. It was great for that.
sure. I thought it was like a prop you guys created. Like, okay, we're gonna be on the road, so
No, we're
here's
not
a
that.
suitcase, and we're gonna glue like a tom head, and I'm just
I
gonna
wish
beat
I
on
wish that there
it.
was that much forethought in what we did. No, we just came up with that idea in like 20 minutes and then filmed it 20 minutes later. That's our level of prep stuff.
That's cool though. So, well, tell me about and I want to hear about the record. Then I know you've put out the whole album's out, but you had a handful of singles out prior to it, and yeah,
Yeah, the record it's I think it turned out pretty well. Like we wrote all the songs during the pandemic and yeah, it's a weird record. Like we've always like skipped around genres. Like
Mhm.
I've just never been able to like lock on one sound and just continue to do it. I have no idea why. I really don't. Like I know it's like a production thing, but like all the productions still sound different. It's like we just hop genres. Like we can't write a specific sound over and over, which makes it really hard to market this band. Cause like, and it makes it really hard to pick even like what songs we're gonna do because everybody kind of has a different favorite song because they're all so different.
Sure.
So we just played around with genres. Like there's like Gemini sounds like a funky soul,
Mm-hmm. That's
like
one of my favorite. That's the first
kind
song
of
on the record, right?
disco track.
That's like
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I think that's such a great song. That one and I think it's the fourth song. I listened to the record through a few times.
Sunshine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunshine.
Sunshine
That's a
too.
cool song
Yeah.
too.
Like that was like a West Coast kind of like gorillaz-y thing, like
Yeah, totally.
which we've been doing songs like those for years, but this is kind of like a lot of those sounds that we've been playing with for a long time kind of like melded into like very solidified crystallizations of those little genres that we've been playing with.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, just like there's some like I tried to do like almost like a Juice World mix with like a 90s song. Like, yeah, it's all over the place, but that was really fun for us to like try on all the different styles. But it's definitely a mix match. It's just my voice. I rely on my voice to tie everything together.
I was gonna say because it doesn't sound like you're explaining it for anyone that hadn't heard the record. It sounds like a cohesive album.
Yeah,
It does what like if you turn it on and you listen to Gemini through the record, it makes sense as a full album. But
yeah.
like but it does have a bunch of different influences you can hear
It's
throughout it.
weird. Yeah, because the two bookends of the label is like there's like a 90s like grunge track with like Nirvana vibes, and then like the first song on the album is like disco funk, like all falsetto, like Bee Gees thing. So I got
Right.
like the Bee Gees and Nirvana type vibes on the same record, and just like doesn't really make sense, but somehow it works.
But it
Like,
does. It works.
yeah,
And
it's
was it
weird.
difficult to like lay it out in
Yeah, it took me
like track
forever.
listings?
Yeah, it took me forever. Like, and I was annoying like everybody. I'd send everybody like different track listings. I'm like, what do you guys think of this? Should I put they're like, we don't care. Like, really stop asking. You've been doing this for months now. Like, please.
But
I
I
would, yeah,
love that.
in
I
the
think
middle of
that's
the
so
night,
cool that you
I
do
would,
that.
yeah, I like, and then even like when it came out, I was like, oh, I messed this up. This is terrible. Like
No,
no one's
dude.
gonna get it. Like this track listing is trash. Everyone's like, please just stop. Like
No.
you're gonna do something crazy, like call the pressers to like stop the album to have them. It's like too late.
Hang on. We need to move to
Just
track
let it
4 and
go.
3.
Yeah, I do stuff like that all the time. And the label's just like, oh my God, please stay out of your own way. I'm like, all right,
No, but
fine.
I love that you do that and take the time to do that because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially with streaming and like a single game that a lot of people are playing, don't have that they don't look that far into it. Like you're made a record and there's a reason it's an album and there's a reason why you put Gemini as the first song and the last song is the last song and it reads as it does. And I think that like art is kind of getting lost.
Yeah, I like, yeah, the day of the album is kind of like done, unfortunately. I mean, it'll never be like actually done, but like, yeah, everything has been focused on singles for so long now that I feel like the album is not as like appreciated or just like
Hmm.
well tailored. It's like people just dump a bunch of songs on there. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, everyone's like thinking about their like album, like, but I am not, I wouldn't be surprised if people like don't put as much emphasis on it as it used to be.
Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely try to overthink it for
No, but
sure.
I think that's so cool that you do that and like you still just because like I said I come from
You
radio.
might be the only one who thinks that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
No.
not, you might be the might be the only one to appreciate the overthinking. At least
No.
everybody in our camp were like,
I guess it's coming from like the radio programmer guy in me. I'm like
yeah,
they're like just spending hours putting together playlists. Like
oh yeah, no, yeah, you can
why should
totally
I
relate.
not play blah 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 into blah blah blah? Like it's like
Totally. Yeah,
You
you
have to
can
like hear it
definitely.
in, like, and
Yeah,
just not to spoil the behind the curtain to anyone listening that doesn't know radio. It's all programmed by like two people at the
I know.
station. Yeah, I loved that. It was like
Yeah,
trying to figure out what goes into
the
what.
playlist struggle is, yeah, it's a real thing,
It is. That's
'Cause
so cool.
you only got one chance to like assuming that people listen. I mean, like, I just tried to stack it to keep people's attention. Like, I was just kind of like, I'm trying to imagine that, like, this is somebody that liked one song and they're like entering our music for the first time. So
Mhm.
I tried to have it all blend well together, but also like I just really tried to like keep people's attention throughout to get them to the next song and the next song and the next song.
I think you did a
And I'm
great
sure,
job.
thanks,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Glad my efforts were not in vain.
No, not at all, dude. They're awesome. And then you have your tour coming up, which is exciting.
Yeah, stoked. It's
You're yeah, tell me about.
we're playing some places we've never played before.
You're kind of playing the
And
middle of the country, it looks like.
yeah, it's kind of a weird tour, but it'll be fun. Like, and we haven't played a lot of these places. Like, we're playing like a couple towns I've never heard of. Like, we're playing up in, like, I've never heard of Harleton, Montana.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Yeah, there
I
was
don't
a couple on there. I was like, okay. I mean,
Yeah,
there's places on there, which
I
is rad that you're doing these dates. I mean, there's bigger ones, Columbus, Chicago,
right.
that I guess that's a festival, but like you're doing Minneapolis, but like you'll look and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. I just
Like,
thought that was
oh,
like rad.
that was an interesting choice. Like,
Not even like that though, but it's
no,
like that's rad that you guys are playing cities and these people and people that live in that town
no,
are
they'll
probably
be
so
stoked.
stoked. They're like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
they'll be stoked. Like, I mean, that's like the great thing is like a lot of these places probably don't get a lot of like bands coming through.
Hmm.
So I'm just hoping like the whole town is there. Like,
I,
that's
I bet
like
it will be.
the
That's
mayor and like everyone, like,
yeah, they'll shut the whole city down for you.
yeah, that would be sick. Like, so yeah, I hope those are some interesting gigs.
Yeah, I did notice a lot of people are asking in the comment section on your thing if you guys are doing any other dates coming up too. And I'm curious because I recently moved from San Diego to Nashville and I saw you guys
Oh,
are
nice.
doing it
Yeah, no, I
in
mean,
Tennessee.
we're gonna be like booking stuff throughout the next year. Like, we're gonna be on the road. We're trying to get some dates for like August and all that.
Hmm.
And I mean, we might be going to Europe. I think we're gonna start doing more Europe stuff, which is gonna be cool.
That's cool.
Like, so I mean, that'll probably eat into our US time somewhat,
Sure.
but yeah, I think that's gonna be next on the horizon as well.
Very cool, man. Well, I
Eh,
appreciate your time today, Kyle. This has been awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
man. Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well. I have one more quick question before I let you go.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Just write as much as you possibly can. Look at the influences, like whoever your favorite people are, and try and figure out what made them work, and really, really try and understand the craft. Like, what's that? I remember. Man, what's the guy? Gonzo reporting. Hunter
Oh,
S. Thompson.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that watched this documentary where he would just literally type The Great Gatsby over and over and over to get like the rhythm and feel of it. And like, if you can kind of do something with that, like with music, like write, like really pay attention to how these people write their songs, like even write your own songs on top of the way that they wrote their songs. Like, that's a good, I tell a lot of like aspiring people to do that. They're like, I don't know how to write a song. I'm like, write over the songs of the people that you admire, like until you figure out how to like adopt their format. You learn about structure, you learn about melodic structure, you learn about where to put your lyrics, what to say. Basically just pay attention to the greats and then build your own style from there. And then once you won't need them anymore, you'll have your own momentum. Bring it back.